So we all know how frustrating it can be when you have put your love and your blood and your sweat and your tears and your time into a bead weaving project, and all of a sudden you notice the finish starting to come off one of your beads. It's happened to all of us. I'm going to show you a sample of one of my very first bead weaving projects that I think I may have actually cried when I saw some of the finish coming off one of the beads. So what I do now is I test a bead finish. If I have a finish that I'm not really sure of, usually metallics tend to be problem ones. And I happen to have that kind of body chemistry that it's slightly more acidic than other people's, which means that if one of those beads that's going to change or come off comes in contact with my skin over even a couple of days, that bead will turn that fast for me. So sometimes in as fast as 8 to 10 hours, I can tell whether bead finish is stable or not. So let me show you what I actually do to do that test so that you know how to test it at home yourself. So right here is the bracelet that I made that made me cry, because it's this beautiful design it was a cover of Beadwork magazine like 10 years ago. And notice this bead that's kind of grayed right here. And that did not used to be gray. That is a bead that this finish has completely worn off all the way along. I don't even remember now what color it was. I think, it looks like maybe there's a little bit of galvanized coating right here still on this side. It was one of the Delica galvanized beads that is not a permanent galvanized. So I have kept this bracelet as a sample. I actually have a drawer at my office that's labeled bad samples, meaning that there's something wrong with it, that I keep it so that I can show people, and this is one of them. So this is the one that broke my heart. Let me also tell you that recently I did this video on the slinky herringbone rope, and I was wearing a bracelet made of this beautiful silver, galvanized silver bead here, and I mentioned it in the video and showed it in the video. And I probably had this bracelet on for maybe a total of 6 to 10 hours would be my guess. And when I went to go put it on the next time, there are patches in it. Now this is not the bracelet because I think I got mad and I threw the bracelet away. I had actually already been working on a necklace to match it. And so this is the necklace that has never been worn. So this doesn't have any of the wear spots on it, but this is clearly not a stable finish. And so as a result, I'm not carrying this particular triangle color in my store. And I suggest you do not get the galvanized silver triangle beads because that finish is not stable. So this one's going to end up going in the bad bead drawer too, the bad sample drawer. But this is what I do. So these are 2 new beads that came out recently. They're Miyuki beads with a check coating on them, and I wanted to check because they're a post-market coating, and also because they're metallic finishes, I wanted to check on how the finish is. So all I did here was I made a little peyote ring for myself. So it's just, I don't know, it's like probably 6 beads wide or something, and I have ginormous fingers, so they look pretty big, but I did this, and I did this. I probably wore this one on this one. And then I just wore these around for a couple of days. And I wore them at night. I wore them in the shower. I washed my hands with them so that they got exposed to soap. I will frequently even do something like purposely eat potato chips or expose them to salt so that, basically I want to abuse them and see what happens to the finish. And one passed the test and one didn't. So on this one, you can see here, see this area right here? You can see where the finish is coming off right there. It's a darker area. There's a couple of them on here, but that was the main one. And so that was probably on the top. And so this, and then the other thing that I do is I'll take my glasses so that I can get a nice close-up look at the bead itself and make sure it's not just a shadow or something. And no, if you look really closely at this, the coating is actually coming off. So this bead did not pass. However, I was really pleased with this bead, and I'm going to be using this bead quite a bit in the future. This one is the full Labrador coating on a Miyuki bead. And so there's a couple spots where at first I thought maybe there had been some finish that had come off, but it really just looks, when I got my glasses, close-up glasses on, and I looked really close, it looked like it was actually just a shadow kind of thing. So these are, you know, they wore the same amount of time, exposed the same stuff. This one, I'm going to say yes, that's a good bead. This one, I'm discontinuing in my store because I do not trust the finish on that. So making just a simple little peyote ring and exposing it to the elements and exposing it to your own body chemistry and to chemicals like salt and soap and just whatever your jewelry might encounter on a regular basis. That's a good way to test a finish. One thing that I want to mention is because I know a lot of people will sell their jewelry on consignment, say in a hair salon. And something that I have discovered over the years when people have come to me with problems with their jewelry, tarnishing especially, but bead colors changing and things like that, is they frequently have their stuff on display in a hair salon. Problem with a hair salon is there's lots of chemicals in the air. They've got the coloring in the air, and they've got the hairspray in the air, and if they do perms, they've got perm solution in the air. And so exposure to all those things in a small environment of a hair salon can really cause havoc with your jewelry. So if that's happening to you, now you know why. Anyway, I wanted to pass along this tip on how you can test a bead finish before you spend a lot of time working with a bead. I hope that's helpful. And in the future, we are going to be adding notations in our bead listings, seed bead listings on our website about what we know about a finish, about how stable it might be, whether it's dyed, whether it might come off with friction, that kind of thing. That's information we're going to be adding as we add beads in. I hope that you find that it helps your jewelry look even better. Happy beading!